And let's make sure we get that ticker back on the air as well on our TV channel. Sergey, what are you looking at over there? I saw you moving around. Are you looking at those cells that are, where is that? Is that
I'm looking at the cells that's just south of the storm that is being.
That's what's coming into Shelby County right now, right?
It is working its way into Shelby County and also moving into DeSoto. It's impacting Horn Lake right now, Barnesville, and it's eventually going to move over Memphis International Airport. But just checking on that one to just see what's going on within that storm. I could see some hail with that. It's about a 80% chance that there's hail within this, but just a small chance that that hail will be severe. So it's estimating radar when it comes to the size of the hail, just about 1/2 of an inch. And that BTI, the Barron Tornado Index, it's on the lower end, 2.2. But you can see all this heavy rain associated with it. I'm going to put the tracker on it so you can see where it's headed. And nothing severe, no warning on this one just yet. But boy, when it does come overhead for some communities, it is going to be coming down because some of those rainfall rates are very high. It's going to be moving over DeSoto Village in just about 10 minutes from now. Oakville at 6:50. Parkway Village at 6:56. Mineral Wells, you're looking at 7:04. Olive Branch at 7:12. And I'm going to make sure that my lightning is turned on because I don't see a whole lot of lightning with this, but it looks like just about 3 strikes with that one. Either way, it's going to produce a lot of heavy rainfall, so be prepared for that and maybe even some gusty winds. But this is not severe, but I just want to let you know that cell is making its way toward Memphis International, toward Mineral Wells, Olive Branch eventually if it holds together. Now, we still have that warning in place just to our north, and that continues to bring down a lot of heavy rainfall as well as some lightning too. Ron?
Yeah, and right now it's a rain and wind maker. That was our greatest concern with this system all along. But wow, the lightning, absolutely incredible with this. I keep checking back to lightning strikes, and we're still producing about 750 strikes. But this cell that's back to the southwest, we're seeing 2,000 strikes of lightning there. So both of these still holding together, although they are showing some signs of weakening just a little bit. We're starting to lose our angle of incidence with the sun as it's getting ready to set this evening, or a little closer to sunset. So we'll lose a little bit of that, but still a lot of heating out there and a lot of activity. Let me show you a look from our High 5 camera. This is in Midtown. Do we have that? Well, I'll tell you what, I think I can pop it up right here. There we go. Check this out. We're looking back to the west. You can see little clouds right there, little scud clouds, but that's that cell. And can we move that camera? Jayla, can you move that a little to the north? Maybe slide it a little to the right? I may be asking for a little too much. Oftentimes I ask our producers and our directors to do a lot. Oh yeah, zoom out. There you go. Look, we've got rain shaft here, little clearing back behind that. And then there's going to be heavy rain that comes in with that. Now also, we often say, when thunder roars, go indoors. And here's why. There's a lot of lightning with this. The second most deadly natural phenomenon, lightning. And that lightning can occur up to 10 miles from the core of a thunderstorm. So just taking a look at this, let's zoom into it. Let me show you the distance. We've got the edge of the storm here, but for 10 miles out, we'll go about 10 miles, 10, 11 miles. Look at this. You could still be getting lightning where there's sunshine and blue sky. Right there around I-40, near Lakeland, even near Arlington. You could likely hearing thunder out there now. Well, lightning can strike where you are, even though that storm itself is still well to the west. I'll tell you what, as it moves on through, wow, some folks are going to get some heavy rainfall with it because those rainfall rates still holding together pretty well. Look at that. Almost just over 1.75 inches per hour. I want to compare that up and see how it measures up with the hail because hail can sometimes skew that. There may be a little pea-sized hail right there around 55 in northern Crittenden County. But I think for the most part, we're dealing with heavy rain because that hail is forming in the mid to upper levels of that storm. but there's a lot of warm air at the surface. So with friction and that warming, that rapid warming as it comes in close contact with the surface, it's going to melt rapidly, and that's going to translate, I believe, into very, very heavy rainfall. But the wind, also a big concern with this, and right now, wow, that little area right there, right over Shelby Forest, it looks like that's where we're seeing our stronger winds with this system. And Sergey, you've got a pretty good look on it at that view. I'm going to throw it back to you in just a second. Let's take a look at it. But I want to track this just from the wind, from the strongest wind. We're not going to track the precipitation. And by the way, this little area right here, you see that just to the west of Covington, and then a little farther down, right, it looks like it's right around Fraser, coming on to the northern portion of the 240 loop. That's what we call our gust front. So there's going to be a sudden gust of wind. Then the stronger wind is going to come in behind that. So that's what I'm going to be looking at. Let me clear that out of here because I want to track this now from where that stronger wind is and where it's going, south and east. You're going to get rain first, but the strongest winds within that, moving into Sloanville, 643. 645, it'll get into Woodstock. Millington, 647. We'll see that then move on into Egypt at 651. 655 to Raleigh. 656 into Bartlett. 702 into Lakeland. And 705, it will move into Cordova. But the rainfall, it is intense with this system right now. And even the lightning really kind of covering up. I need to make an adjustment to my color tablet right there. So, yeah, I'm going to make that. I'm going to let you take a look at it, track it, and show me what you're looking at.
Well, I'm actually looking at this cell that's south of that cell that's going to be impacting Shelby County. It's the one that hasn't reached our viewing area just yet, but it is going to be impacting places like Phillips County, the southern section, southern Coahoma County, maybe even Quitman County, maybe even parts of Tunica as it moves toward the south and east. And this storm is packing quite a punch. Lots of lightning with this. We've got some heavy rainfall and as well as some gusty winds. I'm going to click on one of these skip markers, and there you go. You see they just extended it. Excuse me, but still just outside of our viewing area. However, I do think it is going to impact southern Phillips County. As we put some information on the board, it's moving southeast at 40 miles per hour. A 90% chance there's some hail, could be up to 3/4 of an inch. That's radar estimated. And I want to put a tracker on this because it is going to impact likely southern Phillips County and eastern Arkansas, and maybe even, if it holds together, portions of Coahoma County. You can see some of the communities in the path of this storm. If you're in Aberdeen, right around 646, Jeffries at 647, Elmwood right around 650, Duncan at 651. And you can expect lots of lightning with this, heavy downpours, as well as some gusty winds with this cell as it's moving down toward the south and east. Let me show you the big picture. Again, we still have that severe thunderstorm warning in place for portions of our viewing areas for Tipton County until 7, portions of Shelby County and Mississippi County and eastern Arkansas until 7 o'clock. That cell still making its way east of the Mississippi River with all that heavy rain. Lakeland, get ready. Arlington, get ready. This is on your doorstep. It is going to be moving into your area, and you can see just about 250 strikes within this cell. This is the one that has been warned for until 7 o'clock this evening. Let me put the tracker back on that as well. We'll click on this identification marker here, and it's moving toward the east-southeast at 28 miles per hour. That BTI, it's low, Barron Tornado Index, 2.8, so that is good. We're going to put the tracker on now. Again, moving toward the east-southeast, and we'll extend this out and notice some of the communities in the path. Egypt, you're being impacted right now. Prosperity, 650. Raleigh at 652. Rosemont, 653. Barrettville at 655, Wells at 655. So that is the storm that is being warned for until 7 o'clock. Again, gusty winds, lightning, and heavy rainfall. But I continue to keep a close eye on this batch off toward the west. It's just going to be clipping a small portion of Phillips County, and eventually, if it moves eastward, could impact Coahoma Quitman County and Tunica County. So I'll keep a close eye on that as well. Ron?
Hey, let me show you the downtown camera. Let's take a look at that. I'm going to want our director, Jayla, to pop that up, and let's take a look because it is coming down in downtown Memphis, and some very heavy rain. I've even seen a couple of strikes of lightning on that camera as well. We'll get that up for you in just a second. Look at that. There's a look. Heavier. And do you see the shimmy in the camera? That's that gusting wind that's just now starting to cross the Mississippi River. And you can almost see in the distance, and I'm not sure if we can zoom out on that shot
look
or
at that
not.
cloud to go around lightning.
Yeah, there's a lot of lightning in there. Now, can we switch from that camera to our Midtown camera looking to the west? Because that storm's coming on in.
Yes,
I want to show you the two different perspectives of what we're dealing with here in Memphis. That's Midtown right now. So we're looking to that is Union Avenue there in the middle of your screen, and we're going to swing it around. Let's swing it around to the west. Can we do that? There we go. There's Union Avenue right there. All right, there we go. So we've got that cell coming in right now, but just to the south of it, a little calmer, but it is the northern portion of that storm that is the most significant. So a big comparison between the two.
And you see the visibility is big time difference.
Yeah.
You know, from the downtown camera where you can barely see because of all that heavy rain, and probably the same thing is going to happen. Visibilities go down as that heavy rain is going to be tracking into Midtown.
By the way, if you want to send us a picture, you can do it. If you have the First Alert Weather app on your smartphone or tablet, you can just snap a picture. You can scroll to the bottom of the app and you will see Submit Photos. You can send it to us right there and we can use them on the air and online as well. So it always helps to have eyes on the ground whenever we're tracking storms. But right now, it is this one pesky storm that's creating the problems, the one that's moving into northern Shelby County. Really along and north of the 40 corridor is where the greatest threat for strong to severe storms exists right now. So, and primarily into a small portion of the coverage area. But at the same time, this severe thunderstorm warning is going to remain for about another, 13 minutes or so. And any indications, Sergey, that they're going to extend this?
Yeah, it does look like they are going to extend this downstream.
Okay, so folks, let's go ahead and give you your first alert. I want you to get ready. For Fayette County, I want you to get ready. Haywood County, you're likely going to get clipped by this, but the bulk of the storm itself is going to impact areas right here. All right, so right there. So from eastern Shelby County on through Fayette County, Summerville, that includes you. Let's put a track on it and let me show you where it's going, who it's going to be moving into. Now, I'm tracking this at about 45 miles per hour. I may need to adjust that if it's picked up any speed. So again, I'm going to ask you to track to check on the speed and movement of that storm.
East at 23, looks like.
It's moving east at 23,
and
but
there it is. Did you see the new warning just?
It just now popped. It hasn't popped into my system just yet. These are some of the communities: Bartlett 651, Lakeland 655, Hickory With 703. We're going to see that then move into Fisherville at 706, 713 into Warren, 719 into Summerville. It will then move on into Rossville at 724, Moscow at 729, and there is the new warning that just popped up with this cell. So that warning now for DeSoto, Fayette, Shelby, and Tipton County. Yes, DeSoto County. You're now included in this. It looks like it is going to just clip the northwestern or northeastern corner of DeSoto County, right there in close proximity to Olive Branch. But for now, moving on and across in the Mississippi River, moving into West Tennessee, and really the wind, the most impressive aspect of this storm. And wow, look at that right there. You got a pretty good little gust front that's coming through right there. See that little area? That is really starting to pick up. I think I hear rain picking up here in Midtown. Jayla, can we pop that camera up quickly? Do we have our Midtown camera? I want to show you because just a few minutes ago we had a couple of drops on the lens of the Midtown camera. Now it sounds like it's coming down a little harder and a little heavier. I may even be seeing some sunshine popping up in the downtown area. But right now, this is what we're looking at in Midtown. That's going to continue to spread to the east and southeast. So folks in eastern Shelby County, Midtown Memphis Medical Center getting rainfall, downtown Memphis getting very heavy rain right now, but that is going to continue to move to the east southeast. So folks that are in Bartlett, Germantown, Cordova, get ready. That's moving in your direction, and it's also going to be packing a punch with some gusting wind, and that's what we're seeing right now as this moves on through the radar. And notice this is our legend for this, all right? Let me point out something here, because where it's green, these are things that are moving toward the radar. The radar site itself is right here in Millington. So all the air that's moving toward the radar is in green. Once it passes the radar, it changes red in color. So just that color chart right there gives us an idea of where the wind is moving. So yes, we do have a wind that's coming in from the northwest pushing to the southeast, but you can really see it as it's crossing the radar site there in Millington. We've got lightning on our downtown camera. Let's check it out because we should see a few frequent strikes. Any way to zoom that out just a little bit more? We're looking at Mud Island, by the way. That is the new bridge that we've been calling since the mid-70s. Still the new bridge, but that's what I call it. And we are seeing right now a lot of heavy rain down there. We've had some cloud to ground lightning strikes, but there is certainly a lot of lightning within the system itself. And right now, I think lightning's a greater threat as this moves through than even the wind and the heavier rainfall or hail threat. So a lot of lightning. So Jayla, can that be zoomed out just a little bit? Is it possible? You may be working on it, I'm not sure. But right now, that is a look at a small portion of downtown. Now, let's go back to our first alert Doppler radar, and let me show you what we're looking at there, because we've been tracking the wind. And by the way, lightning just took our camera out downtown. Yep, that happens sometimes. Here we go. The hail threat with this. Still seeing an indication of a little bit of hail right there as it crosses a river, just under an inch in size, and that's in the mid-levels of the storm itself. So it's pushing to the south and east. I think a lot of that is melting before it even reaches the surface. But right now, the rainfall rates with this, they range from about just over an inch per hour to as much as 2 inches per hour. So a lot of very heavy rainfall coming with this, and that whole cell moving south and southeast, and now that's going to be impacting folks in Fayette County, possibly DeSoto County, at least as far as the heavier rain goes. I think you may dodge the stronger winds with this, but we are going to see this push to the south and east with the heavier precipitation. It's also showing some signs of weakening a little bit as it moves on out. Let's take you back to the home view. I want to put another track on this, show you where it's going to go within the next couple of minutes. Just for reference, 2 active severe thunderstorm warnings right now in the Action News 5 coverage area, one about to expire in 7 minutes for Mississippi, Poinsett, Shelby, and Tipton. But Shelby and Tipton, a new severe thunderstorm warning replacing that. That will also include DeSoto, Fayette County, as well as Shelby and Tipton, and that's going to go until 7:30 tonight. So that's why we're tracking this system as we are with you. I see we're in a commercial break on television. Jayla, would it be possible for us to jump in at the end of that break and do a quick cut in for folks who are watching on television? All right, good deal. So we're in a commercial break. We're tracking on our digital platforms right now. Yeah, the storm is strong, but I don't really think it's worthy of breaking into the NASCAR programming on Action News 5 this evening. That's why we're with you on our digital platforms. Yes, we're watching it closely. We are tracking it. And should this intensify and we start getting reports of damage, we're going to go ahead and take over. But what I want to do right now is just update our viewers who are on television and invite them to join us here on our digital platforms as we track this system moving on through the area. So in about 30 seconds, I'm going to jump on television. I'll still be here, but then we'll do a little quick break for television and then get back to our live track. So stand by with me. I've got about 20 seconds before we hit here. A lot of lightning with this system as it comes on through, and 2 active severe thunderstorm warnings and another cell back to our south and west. We're watching that one as well. So here we go. Good evening. I'm meteorologist Ron Childers. We're tracking storms tonight. I've got two active severe thunderstorm warnings. One right now for Mississippi, Poinsett, Shelby, and Tipton County. It's going to go until 7. 5 more minutes on that, but it will be replaced by another severe thunderstorm warning for DeSoto, Fayette, Shelby, and Tipton that will go until 7:30 this evening. We've got a lot of activity coming through, and this storm producing a lot of lightning and some strong gusting winds. 660 strikes of lightning within that. Wind is also a big concern with this cell as it's pushing off to the south and to the southeast. But right now, as we put this into motion for you, heavy rain and thunderstorms crossing the Mississippi River, moving through Tipton and Shelby County, but the strongest portion of that storm itself impacting areas along and north of the I-40 coverage area. And as we take a look at the track on this, I want to track it for you quickly, show you where the stronger winds and potential for damage will exist over the next few minutes. That's coming on into Memphis right now. Germantown 707, Oakland 711, Collierville 716, 722 before it gets into Somerville. We'll see it move into Moscow at 727, 738 in LaGrange, 741 into Grand Junction. There have been indications of hail with this storm, but right now I think it's more so a heavy rain, lightning, and wind maker, and we're getting rainfall rates of just over 1.5 inches per hour. So strong storms moving through the area right now. We have the severe thunderstorm warning that remains for Memphis and Shelby County. That's going to go until 7 o'clock this evening. Taking a look at the big picture, we're also tracking storms that are just to our southwest. This will be impacting Lee, Phillips, Coahoma, Quitman, and even Tunica counties this evening. We're tracking these storms live on our digital platforms tonight on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, YouTube, Facebook, and actionnews5.com. I invite you to join us there, and if need be, we'll jump back into television here. But in the meantime, I want to get you back to NASCAR. Wind, lightning, heavy rain, the main concerns. Tornadoes, not a threat with this system, but we're watching it closely, and that's why we're tracking it on digital. So come on and join us. You can have your iPad in one hand and Action News 5 and NASCAR on your television and watch them both right there in the comfort of your home. If you have plans to go out, I encourage you to stay home until this moves on through. Meteorologist Sergey Galindo and I are tracking it. We'll have another update for you this evening. In the meantime, we're going back to our digital program, our digital platforms, and tracking it live there. Now back to NASCAR, already in progress. Okay, good deal. So they were in a break there. I didn't realize that. Okay, so I think my batteries may have died, and they did on my IFB. Sergey, can I give that back to you for just a sec?
And yeah, I'm still tracking the heavy rainfall that's moving through north central sections of Shelby County, moving toward Arlington and Lakeland. You're going to be dealing with some heavy rain. This is all moving east at 23 miles per hour, but I'm tracking where the heaviest rainfall will be over the next several minutes. So if you're in Woodstock, right around 7:06, Little John at 7:06, Overton at 7:07, Lucy at 7:14. This is when you're going to experience the heaviest rainfall. It is really coming down out there. 7:16 in Egypt, Millington. Heavy rain will be moving into your area at 7:21, Prosperity 7:23, Spring Lake at 7:23. Going to turn the radar back on here, and we'll talk about the lightning because that certainly has been problematic. It's been numerous, I should say, with most of these storms, and it's 123 strikes within this screen. So lots of lightning within that. We'll zoom down to where we're seeing some of those lightning strikes right around Lucy, Bartlett already seeing some lightning as well. Bingestown is starting to push off towards your east, but again, you can see heavy rainfall, lightning with this storm as it moves off toward the south and east. So we'll click on that storm center identification tracker there, and again, the motion eastward at 23. And that BTI, which is the Barron Tornado Index, is very low at a 2.6, so that is good. And thankfully, our tornado threat remains low for this event. But as we pan down toward the south, watching that storm that's making its way toward Olive Branch right now, we'll move in a little bit closer there. And you can see it's going to be headed toward Mineral Wells, eventually Olive Branch over the next several minutes. And not a whole lot of lightning with that, but some very heavy rainfall, which is what we've been seeing with these. We'll expand this view out a little bit here And you can see what's going on back off toward our south and west. This is going to be moving in and impacting southern sections of Phillips County. Already seeing some rain in Phillips County, nothing severe with that. But what's behind it, we are looking at some heavy rainfall and lots of lightning. We'll click on this skid marker, Storm Center identification tracker here. And once again, it's showing us what we can expect within this storm. That BTI higher on this one, a 4.7. This is moving toward the south and east at 40 miles per hour, and there's a good chance this is producing potentially some hail too. Let me put the tracker on as it gets a little bit closer into our coverage area, and we'll expand that out there. And here's some of the communities that are going to be dealing with that heavy rainfall and frequent lightning. If you're in Kittler's at 702, Duncan 703, Emmanuel 705, Eldred Corner at 706. And again, expect lots of heavy rain, plenty of lightning. That's been a biggie with these storms today, and the potential for some very gusty winds. We'll clear that off and give you the bigger picture. And again, thankfully, as these storms are moving toward the east, they're not strengthening. It looks like they're maintaining strength or even weakening a little bit in some of those, right, Ron?
Yeah, they really are. They're weakening considerably. And let me show you this shot from our high five camera in downtown Memphis, Sige, where we had torrential rain, cloud to ground lightning, loud thunder, and now seeing the peaks of sunshine in the distance.
And I bet some cooler temperatures too.
Yes, indeed. Much cooler. By the way, it looks like National Weather Service radar is down in Millington, and that is likely due to all of the lightning that we have seen on top. And Jayla, can we pop that Midtown camera back up? Because I want to look to the west. We're still hearing thunder here in Midtown. It's pretty loud. I can hear it here inside of our building. And that's why we say when thunder roars, go indoors. Lightning can strike up to 10 miles from the core of a thunderstorm. We have seen it time and time again. That's why I want everyone to be inside. If you are in the Memphis metro, you need to be inside as these storms are moving through. Let them pass. I'm very encouraged by what I'm seeing. Looks like we may have some power outages. And by the way, I'm going to ask if we can pull up the MLGW power outage map. Jayla, if you can find that and get it to me, let me know when you've got it. I'll go back and track the storms. I'll let you do that. Go ahead and pop me back up in front of the map, and let's put a track on this. I'm still getting some indication that that radar site is working, but I think we may be down. Let me hit this quickly. Take a look at this as it's coming on through, and again, pushing off to the south and to the southeast as it moves in and brings with it the very heavy rainfall that is pushing through. So, Gay, can I toss this to you for just a second?
Yes.
And let me get a quick look and see what that radar site is doing?
It is down. They just sent out a message that it is down.
Okay, any indication of when that will be back up?
It looks like they're working on it.
Okay,
It's a
let me
technical
do this.
issue.
And I tell you what, I can pan this up. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. I'm going to zoom out, and we're going to tap into another radar site. Interesting note, earlier today as strong storms were moving through Little Rock, Arkansas, the radar site went down there as well. So I'm zooming out just a little bit. I want to pan around and see if we can tap into, there we go. I want to see if I can tap into the Columbus radar and just make sure that we're tracking that storm from at least giving you a little more accurate info as to where the location of the storm is. I did not want that to happen. It's a good thing we're here on our digital platforms this evening. But now notice that it's getting a little smaller, but I'm going to zoom in just a bit. And we're going to come down here because I want to tap into the Columbus radar. Do you see what happened there? As I tap in there, let's go take a look. And yeah, it is, I think I'm still seeing, there we go. There we go. That's a little better. So right now, that's the storm itself. So the heaviest of it is now crossing I-40. I'm going to put a track on this and take it in a little more. So let me do this one more time. And then there we go. We're going to track it from that leading edge of precipitation to the southeast. North Mississippi, this is coming into you. So tracking it at about 45 miles per hour. Somerville, 708. Then Grand Junction, 721, 725 into 721 into LaGrange, 725 into Grand Junction. Then it will move into Ashland at about 736, 747 into Walnut, 756 into Ripley, and then it comes into Memphis at about 806. We'll see it get into Corinth at about 816. So that's what I'm looking at right now, and that is using the Columbus radar site. I go back to the Memphis radar site, and it's down and lagging behind just a little bit. Not the greatest time, because that storm is actually already in eastern Shelby County. That's what I'm looking at there. Sergey, what do you have for us?
It's doing a decent job as well.
And the problem with using radar sites that are farther away, like the Columbus site is all the way down here. So the farther away it is from the as a matter of fact, I can do it like this. So the Little Rock radar site from Memphis all the way in, well, it won't, sometimes the best laid plans. So that Little Rock radar site is more than 100 miles away. Then we've got the site that's down in Columbus, and unfortunately it won't let me do that. Let me try this. Then let's do this. So for that Columbus site, that too is more than 100 miles away. The farther away you go from the radar site itself, let's say this is the radar here, my remote control, the farther you go, the higher in the atmosphere it hits. So the closer you are to the radar, the lower in the atmosphere. So yeah, we may be getting a little bit of a better idea of where the leading edge of that cell is, but at the same time, we're seeing that at such a great distance away that it makes it very difficult to determine what's happening a little closer to the surface. So that's where we are right now. Let me hit this and do that. And yeah, we've already got storms that are forming right down here, Sergey, that are in parts, and you can see just to the south of Amory there, that's the Columbus radar site.
And JLo just reported 572 power outages.
Oh, let's check it out. Let's
MLG&W.
Let's take a look at our MLG. Wow, you can see where the power or where the wind really came through. Check that out. Right there around Fraser, Raleigh, Bartlett, some of the harder hit areas, that's where those red boxes are right now. Even around Lakeland, Arlington. Did get reports. I saw a tweet. Someone sent a tweet saying that Mud Island was in the dark. So that was a result of the strong storms coming on through there. But right now, those areas in red, that's where we're seeing the highest number of customers affected. This is impacting 87,000 MLGW customers. So 87,000 MLGW customers. I can't see how many outages are in there. Jayla, can you? There we go, 572 outages. And look, know this, whenever there are strong storms, the linesmen and lines folks at MLGW are out there in the storms working to restore your power. So they are working hard to get the lights back on for everybody. But right now, let's reset the image because we do have a severe thunderstorm warning that remains in effect now. This is going to remain in effect until 7:30 this evening. This radar data a little delayed, but nonetheless, we're still getting severe thunderstorm warning and now a new one. Talked about this moments ago. This one now for Coahoma, Lee, Phillips, and Tunica County. That's going to go until 8 o'clock tonight as a result of storms that are moving through there. I'm going to make one quick adjustment on my computer, Sergey. I'm going to throw it back to you if you'll take a quick look at this for me. And keep in mind, that storm you're seeing right now is farther east than the radar site is showing.
Yes, but it does give us a good idea of where these storms are headed. And moving. You can see now that cell we've been watching that's been just outside of our coverage area now starting to make its way toward southern sections of Phillips County. Still a lot of heavy rain back off to the west and most of the lightning just outside of our coverage area, but I do think that is going to be pushing in the next couple minutes. Let's put the tracker on that one so you can see what time that could end up in portions of Phillips County and potentially even for Coahoma County. We'll put that on southeast at around 40 miles per hour And again, there are the communities that will be in the path of this in the next several minutes. Lawrenceville at just about 7, actually that one went away, but Emmanuel 7:14, Lawrenceville still up there, 7:17, Berks at 7:19, and we'll clear this off as we check on, this marker that we're seeing, this indicator showing us what's going on within this storm, and it's showing that there is the potential for hail within this. So still some of those stronger storms making their way toward the Mid-South, but we continue to keep a close eye on the one that's continuing over portions of Shelby County, Millington, seeing some heavy rainfall, and we'll really have to watch this because with all this heavy rainfall, and there could certainly be some localized flooding, especially in poor drainage areas, so we'll watch it for that potential too. But notice still plenty of lightning, and a lot of that lightning is out ahead of the heavy rain. So you're seeing a lot of lightning right now, right around Cordova, Germantown, seeing some lightning as well. Bartlett getting in on some of that lightning, and that heavy rain is right there for you, Bartlett. You're already starting to see some of that coming in from the west, and it's just going to fill in over the next several minutes. But again, a lot of lightning, a lot of heavy rain with this cell that's making its way toward the east. Galloway, get ready. It's headed towards you. Same thing for Arlington. It's going to be crossing over I-40 in eastern Shelby County and also in western Fayette County. So get ready. Hopefully you're not on the roads if this is headed your way, because again, so much heavy rain associated with this and plenty of lightning as well. We'll put the tracker back on this one so you can see who is in the path. And this is moving off toward the south and east. We'll put it at about 40 miles per hour. Hollywood, you're being impacted right now. Bartlett, some of the heaviest rain is going to be moving into your area in just about the next 4 to 5 minutes. So I'm sure you're going to hear it really coming down. Elmore Park at 7:17, Oak Grove at 7:18, Arlington 7:19. So just a few minutes from now, Shelby Farms at 7:23. Lots of heavy rain and lightning headed your way. Cloud to ground lightning. That's what we've been seeing within this, and it's been pretty frequent. I heard Ron talk about some of those power outages that are out. And I think we could see some more, especially as the storm continues to move off toward the south and east. Now, the bigger picture shows that there's just that one warning in the area right now. So some good news on in the way of that. We're not looking at several, but this is in place until 7:30 for Tipton County. For Shelby County it's 7:30, and it's in place in Fayette County until 7:30. Same thing for Marshall County, 7:30. So just about another 15 minutes on this warning. We certainly will watch to see if they'll extend it more downstream. Ron?
Well, I want to show you our high five camera in downtown Memphis, because that just keeps evolving into a much more beautiful picture. Now, folks that are along and west of the Mississippi River and north of the I-40 corridor, your severe weather threat has come to an end. I do believe the threat for strong to severe storms no longer exists in that area. Areas south of I-40 in eastern Arkansas, still strong storms working there. And we still have a severe thunderstorm watch in effect technically for those areas, although I think they're in much better shape right now. It's going to go until midnight tonight, but as we take a look at our first alert Doppler radar, and I'm tapping into the terminal Doppler radar that is down here in Mississippi in DeSoto County, you can see that cell itself now moving off to the east of Shelby County. Whoops, let me zoom in just a little tighter. I want to show you where that's going. Clear this off of here and then show you what this cell is going to do, where it is. We're not using the greatest radar there, but it's giving us a better idea of where the storm is currently and what it is producing. So right now, this is the look at it. And because of the limited ability of this radar itself, we're not able to see these storms that are back into parts of eastern Arkansas. We'll tap into the Little Rock, Arkansas, or Little Rock radar just by moving things, and you can see it really comes alive right there as we switch on in the Little Rock radar picking up on that activity. But let's do this. I want to move this over. Again, we're still dealing with a severe thunderstorm warning for Memphis and Shelby County until 7:30 this evening. A portion of Fayette County is included in this, portion of Hardeman and Marshall and DeSoto County also. But let's track these little cells that that are developing south and east. Remember, we get a lot of activity that's really, or a lot of real estate that's just been untapped today as far as rain and thunderstorms go. So there's still a lot of energy there, a lot of daytime heating. So there's fuel for these storms to advance. 721 Lake Center, you're going to have some rain and thunderstorms moving in. Sardis about 733, 736 into Hickory Flat. It will move into Oxford at 748, 757 into New Albany. Then we'll see it move into Ecru at 809, 816 into Baldwin, 823. It will move into Pontotoc, Mississippi. Now I'm going to go just to the north of that, and I want to zoom in just a little tighter, and let's put a track on this cell as it starts to make its way through Fayette County right now and Marshall County. Let me clear this track off, and let's put a new one on. And today, again, I'm tracking this at about 45 miles per hour, maybe moving just a little faster in some locations. But right now, this moving to the east-southeast, I'm tracking the heavier rain. I'm going to come back in and take a look at it for wind in just a moment. But Pattersonville, 719, then 723 before it gets into Laconia. LaGrange, 727, then moves into Grand Junction at 730. Salisbury just behind at 737. New Canaan at 740, 744 into Ashland. It should get into Middleton at about 752. I do think it's going to be much weaker by the time it gets in there. Lightning strikes with this cell. Let's check it out because we had close to 2,000. I think we're around 1,500 strikes of lightning on that cell earlier, and now down to 700 strikes of lightning, or just over. Still has the potential to be producing a little hail. As a matter of fact, we may have had a little hail just around the Wolf Chase Galleria area. It looks like it is coming down, or it was coming down at just under 1 inch per hour. But right now, as we take a look at the big picture, here's what we're looking at. We've got heavy rain working its way through West Tennessee. Although, look at this. Areas right here, you're in great shape. You're in good shape right now. Let's put a track on this storm that's down here because we've got a severe thunderstorm warning until 8 for Coahoma, Lee, Phillips, Tunica County. I want to put a quick track on this and show you where it's going over the next few minutes. And as we zoom down a little bit, I'm going to zoom on in too. And Sergey, if you get a better view on this, let me know. I see you're still looking at the outdated radar over there, so it's kind of tough to switch it around on that one. I tell you what, we'll come to you with storm reports
too.
Yeah, we'll come to you with that in just a moment. We've got power outages. We've got some damage reports around the coverage area, but right now we're tracking two active areas of weather, one that's making its way through Shelby County, another one that's now crossed the river out of Arkansas, moving on into northern Mississippi. Sledge 719, 727 Clarkdale. It'll move into Sardis at about 740, Batesville 745. We're just tracking heavy rain right now. The more intense aspects of this storm, the threat for hail, stronger winds still back to the west. Sardis at about 740, Batesville 745, Crowder 752, Pope at 755, then moving on into Aylesville at about 804 and should get into Oxford at about 810 tonight. I think this whole system is going to clear the coverage area by 10 tonight. So we ought to be in much better shape at 10 for our 10 p.m. broadcast. But in the meantime, we've got a very active evening and a lot of activity working its way through the coverage area. So this is what we're looking at right now. Our first alert Doppler radar indicating that heavier precipitation right there around Arkansas. And let me zoom into these cells that are, and did you notice how it just pops on? That's because we're starting to tap into the Little Rock radar site. But wow, there are 3 active areas with this. And I want to show you, let me point them out to you. I'm going to pan this over because some of this could be moving through our coverage area. We've got an area right here that is right now just to the west of Arkansas. We've got another cluster of storms right here. It's almost coming in through in waves. And then another one right here. That's approaching the Mississippi River. And all of these just coming in one right behind the other. So the potential for flooding in central Arkansas exists, but if those cells hold together and they make their way into the Action News 5 coverage area, we could see the potential for flooding really intensify especially around Coahoma and Phillips County later on tonight as that heavier rain moves in. But it is producing a tremendous amount of lightning as well. And just within this one cluster of storms, look at that, 1,200 strikes of lightning. The cell that's coming in behind it, let me pan that over. Let's take a look at that because it too is producing a tremendous amount of lightning. And we're looking at the number of lightning strikes on this right there, right around Little Rock. 1,200 strikes of lightning. So 1,200 strikes within this cell. We've got 1,200 within that one. And then the activity that is just behind it is producing about 400 strikes of lightning. So a lot of activity all across the Action News 5 coverage area tonight. But we're with you because we've got a severe thunderstorm warning till 7:30 and now a new one just issued. This is for Alcorn, Hardeman, Prentiss, and Tippah counties. This is going to go until 8 o'clock tonight. So 8 p.m., Alcorn, Hardeman, Prentiss, and Tippah County under a severe thunderstorm warning tonight as a result of strong to severe storms that are moving on through. Let's put the features back on here. I want to zoom in one more time. Let's show you what's happening back to the west or right here around the Mid-South and moving to the east as these storms come in from the west. I'll put a track on this. Right now, it's just about to exit that polygon and move on into the next warned polygon. Corinth, 817 should be right there in your backyard by then, if not a little before. Grand Junction, 728. Bolivar, 735. Then it will get into Middleton about 747. Walnut, 751. Moves into Ripley at 804. Eastview at 813. 817 into Corinth. And then we'll see it get into Boonville at about 8:29 this evening. So this is the cluster of storms still producing a lot of very heavy rain. Let's check it out for the potential for wind and strong wind, damaging wind. And really, I think it's this area right here. You see that? I think we're getting a little gust front. That's from the outflows, just kind of coming down. Those upper level winds driving down, hit the surface and spread out. And that's where we could be seeing the potential for some wind damage. And Sergey, I believe you've got some wind damage already being reported, right? Now the radar data itself is outdated, but if you're just joining us, the National Weather Service radar site in Millington is down. We're tapping into the terminal Doppler radar in DeSoto County, not nearly as strong, but at least it's giving us an idea of the storms that are moving through Shelby County. But as those storms were coming through, they were packing a punch with wind. Sergey, what are you seeing so far?
You're right about that, Ron. We've been getting some reports of some very strong winds. We had a viewer that called that said that there were trees down in Bartlett because of those very strong winds. And you can see some of the reports that we have over portions of Shelby County. Lakeland, Tennessee, reports of some wind damage because of the storms that are making their way through. And then we've had a thunderstorm wind gusts in Bartlett, potentially up to 60 miles per hour within that one. And another one just south of that, also in Bartlett, looks like 65 mile per hour, potentially wind gusts within that storm. And then Bartlett once again could have had a 70 mile per hour gust from those storms. So you can see certainly no joke when it comes to this, the gusty winds as well as the heavy rain, all continuing to push off toward the south and east at this time. And still the lightning is still cloud to ground lightning over much of Fayette County right now, some of that extending into Marshall County. And notice the total strikes on the screen, 68, 67. So that has gone down a little bit, but still looking at a good bit of lightning within some of this. Notice as we pan off toward the south, now we have that new warning that popped up just moments ago that's going to be impacting Coahoma County. That warning in place until 8 o'clock, and also just a southern section of Tunica County as well, as it's making its way into Phillips County right now. Lots of heavy rainfall with that one too, and plenty of lightning. Notice with this cell, even more lightning than the one that's moving or that's over Fayette County right now. So that one producing over 200 strikes of lightning within that. Still plenty of heavy rain, and I'll click on the skid marker here and you can see the potential for some hail is there. That BTI is very low at a 2.4, but this is all moving toward the south and east right around 40 miles per hour. Ron?
By the way, that BTI, that Barron Tornado Indicator, that is on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest threat of a tornado. That's coming in at a 2.4. That is very low. Yes, some minor rotation, which is typical in all summertime storms and really storms in general. You get a little bit of rotation, but when we see that below a 5, we're pretty confident that we're just dealing with strong wind. So significant rotation and tornado threat, really not it with this system. However, we got 2 areas that are packing a punch. Spencer Denton just texted me, said power is out in Arlington. So this little cluster of storms right here, then this next cluster of storms coming out of Arkansas right there. We've got 2 that are going to spread south and east and bring with it the potential to knock out some power. By the way, this is playing out just as forecast models, or at least a couple that we chose to go with. We're showing today the NAM forecast model pretty much nailed this on timing, location, and the way it should play out. You get that little split in between the storms. So yeah, DeSoto County, northern Tunica County, you got some rain, you got some wind, but nothing in the way of severe weather, or at least severe storms. It came right through Memphis and Shelby County as we'd expected. I want to show you the MLGW power outage map because we're at about 108,000. What are we now? We're at 116,000 MLGW customers impacted by this storm. 551 outages, the majority of those outages in northern and eastern Shelby County. So areas along and west of 51, that's Fraser, that's Raleigh, Bartlett. You got power out there. As I mentioned moments ago, Spencer Denton texting me, telling me that Arlington without power as well this evening, and Cordova, parts of Germantown, even down into Collierville, we've got power outages moving through. Jayla, I see we're in a commercial break. I tell you what, I want to do a quick cut in on television as when you get a chance. So if you'll let me know, let's do that and break in and bring our viewers on television up to speed. And listen, we're with you on our digital platform tonight simply because it was my opinion that this is a wind event, that I didn't think that this system posed a significant threat to property and to life, so we chose to track it here on our digital platform and not interrupt our NASCAR. So that's why we're with you on digital tonight, and that's what we're tracking. But we have got 2 active severe thunderstorm warnings right now. One for Shelby County that's going to go until 7:30. We've got another warning just to the south and east of that. That will go until 8 p.m. So I'm going to do a quick cut in on television in just a moment, bring folks up to speed watching television on what's moving through, where it's going, and to give them an idea of what it is we are seeing this evening and invite them to join us. We'll come back to our digital platforms here and continue to track it. So I want to thank you all for joining us tonight and being with us here. And it's just kind of a new way for us to track severe weather without having to impact programming, especially when the threat is not significant. Listen, if there were tornadoes dropping from the ground, we would be on television and covering up that programming. However, tonight I think we can effectively do this and give you, the folks at home, the opportunity to choose whether you want to watch the NASCAR race or you want to follow the storms here. And in many cases, a lot of folks doing both. You got your laptop there and you got your television on, so you can still enjoy the programming and still stay up to date on the storms. So good technology. It's helping us out tremendously. Jayla, I do want to bring up that MLGW power outage map, so I'm going to ask for that during this cut-in, okay? So folks who are watching us on digital, get ready. We're about to do a little television hit in about 20 seconds, and then we'll come back to you here and continue to track this as it's moving on through. So here we go. I'm about 10 seconds out. By the way, this is taking a bite out of temperatures too, huh, Sergey? Good evening. I'm meteorologist Rod Childers. We're tracking storms tonight in the First Alert Weather Center, and we've got active severe thunderstorm warnings. DeSoto, Fayette, Shelby, Tipton County till 7:30. So that one's about to expire, but just downstream of that, another warning for Alcorn, Hardeman, Prentiss, and Tippah County. That's going to be in place until 8 tonight. And there's another severe thunderstorm warning for Coahoma, Lee, Phillips, and Tunica counties. That too in place tonight. Now, we've had strong storms coming on through the Action News 5 coverage area. The bulk of it has now moved just to the east of Memphis and Shelby County, but we've still got a lot of activity that's pushing off to the south and east, and that's moving on into Hardeman County. Is going to continue to move in that direction. I'm going to put a quick track on this, show you where this is going to go over the next few minutes. Hickory Valley, Bolivar, Walnut, Faulkner, between now and 8 o'clock. Then from Ripley to Selmer, Corinth, and Boonville from 8 till about 8:30. So there's your first alert on storms moving through. We're starting to see a much calmer pattern emerge here in Memphis and Shelby County, but still a lot of stormy activity. And by the way, the National Radar Site, or the National Weather Service radar site in Millington, is down. We're using the terminal Doppler that's located down in DeSoto County, but it's still allowing us to track these storms effectively. And we're watching what is moving through Quitman, Coahoma County, and parts of northern Mississippi. But storms that did come through Memphis and Shelby County knocked out some power for a lot of folks. Here is a look at the MLGW power outage map right now. We have 116,000 MLGW customers impacted by this outage, 551 outages, again impacting 116,000 customers. Fraser, Raleigh, Bartlett, Germantown, Cordova, Arlington, Lakeland getting the power outages. The largest number of outages just outside of the 240 loop, and that's where the strongest winds came through. Meteorologist Sergey Galindo and I are tracking these storms as they're moving on through the Action News 5 coverage area. We're tracking them on our digital platforms. Right now, severe thunderstorm watch remains in effect for the entire coverage area. It's going to be in place until midnight, but things are looking much better for folks along and north of the I-40 corridor and south of that line where the stronger storms are moving through. I want to invite you to join us as we continue to track these storms live on Amazon Fire, Roku, and Apple TV on the Action News 5 app. We are also on YouTube, Facebook, and actionnews5.com. Meteorologist Sergey Galindo and I manning the radar tonight and tracking the storms. So you have the option to continue with the NASCAR races or join us on our digital platforms as we track these storms. Or hey, you can have both screens right there in the palm of your hand, watching the race and watching us track the storms. We're doing it live. I invite you to join us. Right now, let's get you back to NASCAR already in progress. We're going to keep tracking these, and of course, we'll keep you updated. I'll have another update for you again in the next commercial break. All right, so here we go, back on radar, and look at this activity right here. Sergey, I'm not sure if this is really, and lightning strikes are increasing. My big concern is the hail potential increasing with this, and wow, look at that. Jayla, can you take program out of my ear, please? And then look at this. This just kind of popped up moments ago. We were getting indications earlier of hail just under an inch in size as it was coming across I-40. Now look at this. We're getting indications of hail around Somerville, just under an inch and a half in size. And just to the east of Rossville, right around an inch, just over an inch in size. Sergey, what are you looking at over there? Because that hail tracker, that was pretty intense at one point. I think you got a pretty good handle on where the rain is right now, huh?
I do. I have a pretty good handle. Not seeing a whole lot with the hail, but again, I think it's because I'm not using the radar site that's closest to us. I'm using the one out of Little Rock at this moment. But yeah, so much rain still continuing to fall across Fayette County that extends into Marshall, Benton County, dealing with some of that, as well as Hardeman County, Bolivar, Tune, all dealing with this very, very heavy rainfall, and still plenty of lightning at this point. Notice the total lightning strikes on the screen sitting at over 300, 318 to be exact right now. So again, we continue to track this severe thunderstorm warning that's in place until 8 o'clock. Let me put the tracker on here and let's track this heavy rainfall. Let me show you the areas that are going to be impacted in the next few minutes. If you're in Snow Lake Shores, this is going to impact you right right around 735, actually right now. New Canaan 737. Ashland at 740, Pine Grove at 741, Brody at 741, Hamilton at 743. So what can you expect? Gusty winds, heavy rainfall, lightning. That is all headed your way. Hopefully, if you are not inside, if you have friends who are outside, you want to tell them to move indoors as this storm approaches the area and expected to impact the communities I just named. Still watching another severe thunderstorm warning back down toward the south and west. We were talking about this one earlier, that it would impact portions of North Mississippi and eastern Arkansas, and that's what we're seeing right now. So much lightning with this one from Marvel to West Helena, Friars Point, Clarksdale. You are all going to see even more heavy rain. Right now, some rain over you, but heavier rain is just to your west. That's going to be sliding in soon, along with lots of lightning. You can see as we zoom a little bit closer into this storm, it's producing over 800 strikes. And I'm going to click on some of these, what we call skid markers. It kind of gives an indication of what's going on within the storm. And you can see some wind gusts, potentially over 60 miles per hour, the potential for some hail. And as we've been talking about, that Barron tornado index is on a scale from 1 to 10. It's low. It's at a 2.6. So that's certainly what we like to see. But a lot of heavy rainfall with this as it's moving toward Clarksdale. And I'll put the tracker on this one as well. It's moving toward the east-southeast. So again, clipping southern sections of Coahoma, Quitman County. You're going to be clipped by some of this too. And some of the communities that will be dealing with this here shortly. Gunnison at 740, Pullen at 742, Bobo at 743. If you're in Riverton, right around 745. And again, you can see all that heavy rain. I'm going to turn on the rainfall rates because we are always watching for that potential that there could be some flooding. So we're going to see what those rainfall rates are within this. And I bet they're on the high side, 4.5 inches near Clarendon. So again, we'll have to watch the potential that we could see some localized flooding within some of these storms because they certainly have been producing a lot of heavy rain. And that's not just for this particular cell, but also to the one that's making its way across West Tennessee as well. Also seeing a lot of heavy rain with that. We'll turn the radar back on here shortly. But before we do that, I want to show you some of the rainfall rates that we're dealing with within that one. I'm going to turn back on the radar site that is giving us some data. I'm looking at the one out of Little Rock, and again, you can see some of those very high rainfall rates, mainly back across that cell that's tracking in eastern Arkansas and into North Mississippi. It looks like for the cell that was tracking in West Tennessee, mainly a lot of lightning with that. Still some moderate rain, but not quite as heavy as what we're seeing with that cell that's over Coahoma County and moving toward Quitman County. Let me turn the radar back on, and you can see here only those two warnings are in place. So that is some good news. As Ron mentioned, areas in eastern Arkansas, north of the I-40 corridor, I think your severe threat is over, and we'll continue to see that severe threat ending from areas west to east as these storms make their way toward the east. But right now, we still have that severe thunderstorm watch that's in place that goes until midnight tonight. Ron?
So I just got a text from a family member who lives in North Mississippi, and she tells me that there are trees coming down on Highway 72 in those storms right there in Marshall County. Severe thunderstorm remains in effect there, but right now we're dealing with the heaviest rain, the strongest winds moving through West Tennessee, North Mississippi, right there along that Mississippi-Tennessee state line. And you can even see just the radar or just the lightning indicator itself showing lightning strikes increasing exponentially. We're at about 954 strikes of lightning right now. I want to zoom into that area and take a close look at the wind profile with this because, again, this is a strong wind maker with this system. And let me take a quick look here. I am going to, let's hit this. We're going to look at this from two different, and I may not be able to do it like that. All right, let's try this. And here we go. Again, losing the radar site in Millington is creating a little bit of an issue for us, but fortunately we've got surrounding radars around the area, so we're still able to track this to some degree. But I'm trying to get some idea of what wind speeds may be like close to that area, and right there, not too impressive. but at the same time, we could find 40, 50, 60 mile an hour winds just within that site itself, and I'm not really seeing it, at least not from this view. However, the potential for strong winds certainly there, and as Sergey was pointing out moments ago, the potential for very heavy rainfall in there too. Now, we were seeing some indication of large hail developing with this, and that's been one of our concerns with this system all along. Rainfall rates right now coming down at just over 1.5 inches per hour. So I'm going to zoom out on this just a little bit, show you where the heavy rain is still moving on through, even right there around Clarksdale, south of I-40 in eastern Arkansas. Very heavy rain crossing the Mississippi River right now. That's going to move on into Clarksdale, and that could create some flooding, and especially given the fact that there are other storms that are going to come in behind this. So I'm going to switch this over just a little bit. We're going to tap into that Little Rock radar. There we go. There's the Little Rock radar. Kind of a tough view, but I tell you what, let's put a track on this, because as that moves on through Clarksdale, that heavier precipitation pushing to the east. I'm going to give folks their first alert. Clarksdale 742, so you've got precipitation heavy, very heavy, and some strong gusting wind. That's going to come in there about 2 minutes. 745 into Shelby, then 752 into Winstonville, 754 into Sabino, Mound Bayou, 759. It's then going to get into Marks at 804, 807 into Chauncey, and then into Sumner at 814. So that's that line that is in southern Coahoma County, our southern portion of the coverage area, but still under an active severe thunderstorm warning this evening, producing a lot of lightning. That's going to go until 8 o'clock, so about another 18 minutes on that. We have the severe thunderstorm warning right now until 8 p.m. for Alcorn, Hardeman, Prentiss, and Tippah County. Let me put a quick track on this and show you where that's going to go over the next few minutes. I'll zoom in just a little tighter so we can get a better view. But this is impacting a pretty good portion, really from right around and just to the west of Bolivar, all the way to the south across the Mississippi-Tennessee state line. But it's that area right there. And look, with the radar site being out right now, the Millington radar site being out right now, it is tough to see. Unless it's back up. Is it up, Sergey? Okay, so it is still down. Which radar are you using?
I'm using the Little Rock radar.
Okay, all right. So I am using this radar back here. This is the one that we're using to track this storm. This is down in DeSoto County. So this is where the storm will be going within the next few minutes as it moves to the east-southeast about 40, 45 miles per hour. Middleton, 749. Middleton 747, Walnut 749, then it gets into Ripley at 757, Myrtle 803, right around 8 o'clock. You'll get a little light rain, 803, the heavier precipitation, the gusting wind accompanying that. Guys at around 814, Corinth 817, Boonville 825, Baldwin 833. The big picture right now, looking pretty good for us, but there is still the potential for some more storms to develop, especially in this little area right here. That's what we're watching, this little area along and south of I-40, because all this activity is just kind of moving in this direction. I'll put a loop on this for you, let you check it out. And again, it's moving off to the east-southeast. I'm wondering, I'm seeing a little development that is just to the north. Let me zoom in just a little bit, because we could see a little redevelopment back here. You see those little cells right there? Those could come in and clip parts of northwest Tennessee. Keep in mind, this area right here is not really seeing anything today. So there's still some energy there, right around Dyer, Crockett County, along and north of I-40, Madison County as well. If these storms continue to hold together, the sun's setting soon, so we'll lose some of that daytime heating. The atmosphere to the south of it's been cooled considerably as a result of the rain and thunderstorms moving through, but at the same time, there may be just enough energy for these storms themselves to increase. And you know, Sergey, one of the things we were looking at earlier today was the energy in place ahead of these storms as they were coming on in. We had that strong flow coming out of the south, driving a lot of moisture into the area. As a matter of fact, feels like our heat index values really exceeded in some areas our expectations. We were thinking right around 105 to 110 in quite a few locations around the Mid-South. They reached 110 to 115.
Yeah, almost excessive heat.
Yeah.
Really, when you start getting above that 110 category.
Yeah, so all that fuel built up today. We had no storms early this morning. As a matter of fact, forecast models were indicating the potential for strong storms this morning around 6. Sergey, what was there?
There wasn't any strong storms. We had a few downpours that impacted eastern Arkansas, but nothing more than that. Most areas were clear and just dealing with the heat.
Yeah, so a lot of energy just able to build up throughout the day, and now these storms coming through tonight as a result of a cold front. Yeah, we've got a cold front that is working its way through the area right now, and really that front, let me see if I can draw it out for you just a little bit, because I think this is the area of the front right here. Let's just draw a little cold front. This should be it. It extends from here, and it's going to push south and east. So, little development right here. I think it's going to continue to usher these storms along and allow them to continue to live, moving on into northern and central Mississippi. But until that cold front itself passes, we're not going to get some of this drier air that's going to come in behind it and take a big bite out of the humidity for the start of next week. In the meantime, we got a stormy evening in and around the Action News 5 coverage area, and those storms mainly into North Mississippi and a handful of counties in West Tennessee, primarily Fayette and Hardeman County. Lightning, heavy rain, some indication of hail, and a lot of strong gusting wind with this, and we've had reports of damage. Yes, Sergey.
Reports of trees down over Fayette County.
What was that? Tell me that again.
There was a lot of reports of trees down all over Fayette County. So,
do you have a storm report on that, or is that coming from the National Weather Service?
It's coming from the National Weather Service, talking about how they're seeing several trees down, so many. So hopefully we'll get that official report coming out soon.
All right, good deal. We'll get folks in our newsroom working on that, making some calls, maybe even sending some crews out there to see what we've got working, because trees down in that area, that's going to create problems on roads. That's going to knock out power and create some big problems there. Here in the city of Memphis and Shelby County, over 100,000 MLGW customers without power as we head into the evening hours tonight. But the good news, the storms, the stronger storms have moved on through. And Sergey, I really think the threat for severe weather here in Memphis and Shelby County and the threat for additional storms overnight for us is pretty much come to an end.
Yeah, I believe that too. And I think even areas in eastern Arkansas that's north of the I-40 corridor, I think they're in decent shape as well.
That's good. You know, we watch these storms develop all day, and one of the things that the forecast models were having a tough time picking up on was where are these storms going to develop?
Yeah.
Where will they develop? We know where they were going to move, but a storm developing here as opposed to forecast models indicating it developing here has a big difference on who is going to be impacted. Well, we saw these storms develop right around, it was right here. This really came through and packed a punch in Craighead County. The upper level winds are out of the northwest. So as these storms develop and they rise, those upper level winds start to steer the storms, and they brought them just like that. And that's been the path they followed tonight. And right now, those storms making their way into northern Mississippi, moving out of Memphis and Shelby County, still creating some problems for parts of West Tennessee. But I think our main focus right now is going to come down to this area right here. Tell you what, I want to see if I can use the terminal or the radar down in Columbus. Well, let me do that. I got to be very careful here. I'm using the Columbus radar site. Let's try that again. Here we go. There we go. I want to track this right here. Again, the Columbus radar, just to the south of Amory, that's the radar site we're relying on for these storms and to track them. So here we go. With that in mind, 7:51 into Walnut, 8 o'clock into Ripley, 8:07 into Raymer, then 8:11 into Eastview, 8:19 into Corinth, then moves into Boonville, 8:27, Baldwin, 8:35, moving into Mariana at 8:45 tonight. So northeast Mississippi, you've still got a little ways to go before these storms move on out, but they are moving at a pretty good clip at about 45, 50 miles per hour, I do believe. I'm tracking it at 45 miles per hour, but at that should put these storms outside of our coverage area right around 9 o'clock tonight. That will allow a much more tranquil pattern to evolve as we head into the overnight hours. But wow, I got to tell you, the lightning is still impressive on these storms, and quite a bit of it just within that polygon itself. I'm seeing 924 strikes of lightning, and that's holding together very well. As far as the hail potential with this, we had a pretty good indication of some large hail back around Somerville, and really north of 22, south of 40. That's where our energy is right now. This little area right here. That's where we're seeing the greatest amount of energy, and that allowed that little cells that moved, I say little cells, quite a big cells, that moved out of Shelby County, had the ability to intensify. It hit that untouched atmosphere here, that heat that was still present over central Fayette County, and that gave this a little more of a lift. As a result, it produced some pretty good size hail. And I'm zooming in here. I want to take a look. Look at that. We're getting indications of hail that was right around 1.5 inches in size. Earlier this afternoon, we were watching cells that were tracking through northeast Arkansas. Radar estimates of hail that was close to 4 inches in size. But right now you can see the larger hail. Looks like it came down just to the west of Hickory Valley. By the way, if you have pictures of hail, if you're in Williston, you have pictures of hail, we'd love to see them, and you can send them to us using the First Alert weather app. Just scroll down to the bottom of the app and you'll see submit photos. Look at that, about 1.5 inches in size in Williston. Did it reach the ground 1.5 inches in size? Likely not, as it fell through the atmosphere, coming in contact with the warmer air at the surface. There was likely some rapid melting with it, but I do believe there was probably some maybe quarter to $half size hail that came down around Williston as that storm was at its peak. But right now, taking a look at the radar data on it, let me pop this up for you here, and the heavier precipitation now has moved to the south of Williston. However, you are still technically under a severe thunderstorm warning, although I think everybody that is from Williston, north and west, you're in good shape. See all that lightning right there? It's right over Ashland right now. And let's pan down. Let's take a quick look at that, because Ashland's really getting pummeled with some very heavy rainfall. Rainfall rates in that area showing just to the north of Ashland, just over 2 inches per hour. What about the potential for hail in there? Probably so. Yeah, look at that. Sigay, I don't know if you're seeing anything in the way of big hail around Ashland. If you do, give me a shout. I want to take a look at it on your system. We're at 1.5 inches hail size. That's northern Benton County right there. So you've got Highway 72 just to the north. We were getting indications or reports of trees down along Highway 72. Had some strong wind that came through there. As we take a look at, let me hit the spectrum width here. This is turbulence within the atmosphere. The stronger winds, the greater turbulence right now extends from right there around 72, around Walnut, all the way down into southern Benton County, just to the north of 22, north of Hickory Flat, Mississippi. Faulkner, Claviette, Walnut, you've got some heavy, some strong wind in that area, I do believe, as that moves on through. And let's put the scope on here and take a look. So we're looking at two different parameters here, turbulence within the atmosphere itself, and then the scope is showing us where the potential for the stronger winds and possibly rotation may exist. Right now, I'm not seeing anything in the way of rotation, but I am seeing a lot of strong wind, or at least radar indications of very strong wind. So, Gay, you're looking at that hail tracker. You got a pretty good view on it.
Yeah,
what do you see there?
I'm seeing it right over Ashland right now. got a pretty good indicator of some hail there. And of course, we've been watching these storms and we've seen that back off to the west, it was very large hail indicated by some of those. I don't think it's quite on that caliber, but still getting some indications that there's some hail right around Ashland. Maybe have had some around Williston and Moscow. But yeah, and it looks like that extends toward the east into Tippah County toward Faulkner. So maybe getting some hail just to the west of Faulkner as well.
Wow, so a lot of activity, and the focus now is shifting south. North Mississippi, you're under the gun right now. That's where we're finding, and a new warning just issued. Let's check it out, because this new warning now, that is going to be in effect for Alcorn, McNairy, Prentiss, and Tippah County. That's now going to go until 9 o'clock. The warning that was just behind it, that was going until 8 o'clock this evening. Storms may be slowing down just a little bit, but they're still producing a lot of very heavy rain, a lot of thunder, a lot of lightning with this, and indications of some large hail as well. But taking a look right now at what we're dealing with, where that storm is moving, let's take a look as that moves to the southeast. Looks like that, just a small portion of that storm, and I'm tracking it from that little Boeing segment right there that is just to the west of Ripley. Looks like it's going to get into Ripley in about 6 minutes. So Ripley, folks in Ripley and Benton County or in Tippah County, get ready because you're going to get a strong gust of wind. Could have some roof or tree damage as a result of that coming through, as we have seen just to the west of you. Then moves into Dumison about 8:14. It'll get into Halton and 24 minutes. I said 8:14 in about 14 minutes, excuse me. And then Halton at about 24 minutes, 37 minutes before it moves into Boonville and then into Mariana in about 49 minutes. So this is the cell, this is the storm itself, and this is the area we're watching closely because all of this activity right now coming on through there. Let me clear this out of here. Let's talk about what is happening right here in Panola County and Lafayette County, because even though you're not under a warning right now, you've got a lot of lightning, a lot of very heavy rainfall coming down. Let's put a count just on the lightning itself over Panola County. Right there, 316 strikes of lightning. I'll extend it a little farther east into Lafayette County, 330 strikes of lightning. So not a lot of activity just to the east of that, but that box itself, or that line itself, moving off to the south and east, and this is going to impact the town of Oxford. Saw a new warning just go up as well. College Town, College Hill, 8 o'clock, then moves into Cortland, 8:01. We'll see it get into Oxford. 8:07, Taylor, 8:14, Springdale, 8:19, 8:25 into Water Valley, 8:28 into Dogtown, then 8:30 before it moves into Thaxton, and that's for that cell right there. Rainfall rates associated with that, pretty intense right now. As a matter of fact, it's coming down at just over 1.5 inches per hour in northwestern or northeastern Panola County and western Panola County, right around 1.57 inches per hour. So this whole portion of the storm itself producing about 1.5 inches per hour. In other words, if that cell sat on top of you for 1 hour, it would drop 1.5 inches of rain and maybe even some hail. Haven't even checked out the hail counter in that, or the hail detector in there. Looks like it's very small, right there around 55. Looks like it's just over 3/4 of an inch at one point, and that's again in the mid-levels of that storm itself. But heavy rain, thunder, lightning in there, a lot of activity happening around the Mid-South this evening, and really the focus of it now confined to northern Mississippi. I'm taking a look, a lot of warnings, but most of them well to the east of Memphis, nothing back to our west and northwest, but there are still storms that are moving through Arkansas and south of the 40 corridor, but these storms are moving in this direction, so it should take it just outside the coverage area. But until we get these out of Coahoma, Quitman County, Panola County, we're going to watch this very, very carefully and very closely. I really think the potential for flooding is greater in those areas than the wind threat itself. Let me take a look at spectrum width and let's see what we have here. Not a lot. The heavier wind back to the west with this. Got some pretty good wind right there around Panola County. Sergey, we want to watch Panola County. It wouldn't surprise me if possibly a warning was issued for that area in the next few minutes, although it looks like the hail threat's kind of small with that. But what about the potential for some gusty wind with it? Yeah, there's a little bit in there, maybe 55, just to the west of 55. A little strong wind may be coming through there. Tell you what, let me put a track on just that wind right there. You see that little band of green? It's right there. So I move my hand north, that's not helping. Let me push it to the south and east. Sudden gust of strong wind could come into Cortland at about 8:01, so about a minute away. Oakland 8:08, Scobie at about 8:15, then Water Valley 8:26, Turkey Creek 8:30, Tyson 8:40, Schoona 8:45, and then into Bruce at 8:51. So some gusting wind with that, and there's also some heavy rain associated with it too. That's coming in pretty quickly. Let's take a look at the big picture with lightning. A lot of it. By the way, lightning strikes the earth about 30,000 times a day on average, every day. Globally, lightning strikes about 30,000 times a day on the planet Earth. We have seen storm systems produce 30,000 strikes of lightning just here in the Mid-South. And tonight, this little cell itself producing 2,000 strikes of lightning. I say this little cell, this little complex, because actually we've got about 3 cells working. We got one cell that's this area right here. We got another one back behind that, and then we're watching the activity that's coming in back behind that. All of this pushing to the southeast as it makes its way on through. So that's what I'm looking at there, a lot of lightning. Sergey, what do you see? Anything catching your eye?
Well, looking at some stuff just outside of our coverage area, showing some rotation just south of Coahoma County, right around Duncan and Shelby, but seeing some very heavy rain right around Clarksdale right now. That's moving outside of our coverage area, but that rain is really coming down there. It's going to be moving off towards your south and east here shortly, and in Clarksdale already are continuing to deal with a lot of lightning as well. Looking at that cell that's over Panola County right now, the heaviest rain over Sardis, Batesville, seeing some of that, as well as Cortland, and plenty of lightning as we've been talking about throughout the day, and have seen some of that lightning when it was over Memphis on our Midtown Memphis camera, that cloud to ground lightning. That remains the case with this storm in Panola County. Lots of lightning. Just on my screen here, just about 894 strikes, but I take a closer view in and it's right around 200, over 200. I'll just click on this marker here. This is our storm center identification marker, and it shows us where we're seeing the most intense part of that storm. This is going to be tracking down toward the south, and right now you can see moving toward the east-southeast at 33 miles per hour. There's a good chance that there may be some small hail in this, but the good thing is that BTI, that's on the scale from 1 to 10, our Barron tornado indicator, it's a 1.3, so very low. So we always like to see that, but you can see where some of this intense rain is going to be moving in toward Burgess at just about 8:22, Lakeway Gardens at 8:27, Marley Bar Cove at 8:30. And again, this is going to be headed toward Oxford over the next several minutes. So if you're in Oxford, you may be seeing some rain right now, but even heavier rain is headed your way. That's just back off toward the west. Now, the big picture again shows we have still just a few warnings there. A lot of the lightning with that cell that's right now over Benton and Tippah County. So much lightning with that. Still a lot of heavy rain over Ripley right now, but thankfully this is tracking toward the south. I'll put the laps on here so you can see where it's headed. We'll put that into motion. And again, that heavy rain is going to be shifting southeast toward Jumpertown, Boonville. Eventually going to see that just outside of our coverage area. So things starting to wind down down some, but we still have a few warnings to go before things improve even more.
Yeah, we've got that one active warning right now for northeast Mississippi. By the way, I just heard from a family member, Sige, who is she's about 10 miles to the west of Tippah County. There are trees down in Benton County on Highway 72 blocking traffic, from what she tells me. So trees down on Highway 72 in northern Benton County. So if you are in that area, if you had plans to be out driving along that area, or you know someone who is, you may want to shoot them a text, give them a call, let them know that trees are down on Highway 72. I do believe crews are working right now to remove them, but that will create some delays. New warning that just went up right now. So the active warnings we have in place for our coverage area, we've got this warning right now that is for Chester, Hardin, Madison, and McNairy County. So that is for northern McNairy County. That is going to be in place now until 9 o'clock this evening. Then we've got another warning that is just to the south of that for Alcorn, McNairy, Prentiss, and Tippah counties. That is until 9 o'clock tonight. And then just to the south of that, another severe thunderstorm warning. This is in effect for southern Coahoma, southern Quitman, Tallahatchie, and that will be in place until 8:45 tonight. But as Sige mentioned, we've got a much calmer pattern that is starting to emerge across the area this evening as these storms continue to push to the south and to the southeast. So yeah, they're still packing a punch around northern Mississippi. And let me see if I can tap into the Columbus radar site there to give you a better idea of the intensity of these storms. And there's that line. You see that? That's a pretty well-defined line right there. I'm going to loop this for you quickly. Let's see if that will pick up onto that. Yeah, there we go. Look at that. That's coming on in, and that is really just starting to intensify right there. Not really intensify, but hold together and kind of become a little more linear as it moves on through. We want to watch this closely because our winds could get a little stronger, especially as that's starting to move out of Tippah County. So folks that are right there around Union County, Prentiss County, you want to be on the alert tonight as that line is starting to approach you and continue to move south and east. Yes, again,
it looks like they may be issuing a severe thunderstorm warning for Marshall County due to hail.
Yeah, and that's probably, let me zoom into that because you see that look at that little area that's popping up right there on 22. That's showing some signs of intensifying just a little bit. I'm going to zoom into it. We ought to be able to see it pretty good there using our terminal Doppler radar site that is in, let's see here, see if I can pop that up. Yeah, there we go. What about hail in there? Let's check it out. We've got a pretty good indication of hail just between Byhalia and Holly Springs on 22, and right there around just to the north of Holly Springs, right around an inch, maybe slightly higher. I think you've got a better view on it, don't you, Sige?
I do, yeah.
What do you got, right there around Red Banks?
Yeah, right there around Red Banks, right up along I-22 there. It looks like there could potentially be some hail there, and that's why the warning was prompted for this cell in Marshall County that goes until 8:30. You can see that there, that indicator showing us that there could be some hail. We're going to zoom in a little bit more right up along Bishop Road. Could be seeing some hail. McAlexander Road. This is the vicinity where some hail could be falling from this storm. Now it's moving toward West Woodard Avenue toward Holly Springs along State Highway 311. Could be seeing some hail with that, and this is within that cell that's in Marshall County.
Jayla, I noticed our ticker's not running on our TV side. I'm not sure, or on our TV side. I'm not sure what the issue is there, but if we could get that back up, that would be great. And by the way, for those of you who are with us this evening on our digital platforms, thank you for joining us here tonight. But as this storm system came on through, our main concern with this was the threat for heavy rain, the threat for some gusting wind. But with a big NASCAR race tonight, I didn't want to interrupt that just for that. Yeah, it did knock out a lot of power in and around the Memphis metro, and it's still packing a punch. But this is something that I think we were able to track effectively right here on the digital platforms, giving you, the folks at home, the choice of watching on your laptop or maybe even tuning in to Action News 5 Plus on our digital channel at 5.5. But at the same time, for those of you who did want to see the NASCAR race, and keep in mind a lot of the coverage area not even impacted by storms tonight, we want to give them the option to see that, but at the same time still track these storms effectively and keep you safe as we track this here on Amazon Fire, Roku, Apple TV, Action News 5 apps, as well as actionnews5.com, 5.5, and on Facebook. So we have many ways to bring you coverage now. It's technology I think we've all longed for a very long time to keep us from interrupting your favorite programming, but at the same time, track storms, keep you safe. So right now, Sergey, you talked about that new warning that was about to be issued. Yep, there it is. This is for Benton and Marshall County. That's going to go until 8:30 tonight. That's being issued primarily because of the threat of hail. So some large hail in that, but that hail can also lead to very heavy wind because hail has a potential to bring down a column of air closer to the surface. Let me clear this out of here. I want to zoom in on it and then take a look at what the wind profile may be on that. But a pretty well-defined line as it's coming on through. But here's the kicker. This thing, watch this. I'm going to put this into motion for you. It may not pick it all up. I think I'm losing some of it. Let's see if I can pan this back and tap into the Columbus radar. Here we go. But watch this line. It comes on through, and then you see that little area right here that just kind of develops right there over Holly Springs. That came in on the backside of the storm. So what we're dealing with as this came on through, the downdraft likely created a little bit of an updraft behind it, and that gave that little cell fuel to re-intensify. Because on the backside, so on the front side, we've got air that's being sucked up into the storm, all right? Then on the backside, cooler air is coming down. So what goes up must come down, right? Well, it comes down on the backside of it, but as it does, it can force moisture up. And I think that's what we're seeing that is developed right there. And there's the potential for some pretty strong wind with this as well as that's moving on through. And look at this, the turbulence right here. That little area right there, that is showing some very strong wind. I want to watch that closely over the next few minutes for the potential for maybe a little development or rotation. Don't think we're going to see it. I think really straight line wind is the big issue. And by the way, reports of trees down on Highway 72 in Benton County as these storms came on through. So folks that are north of Ashland, right there in Benton County, some strong wind came through there. That took down some trees. That has blocked portions of Highway 72. I'm getting that from a trusted family member this evening. So if you have plans to travel there, or travel in that direction, I encourage you to just stay where you are, ride it out. Let's let these storms move on through. Let's take this back to the home view and look at the big picture. Again, the National Weather Service radar site in Millington is down. We are having to rely on the terminal Doppler radar site that is in DeSoto County. Not nearly as strong, but as we zoom around and move around, we also have access to radars in Little Rock, and we have access to the radar site that is in right here in Columbus, Mississippi. So we're covered for North Mississippi. And then for areas that are just to our north, we've got the Paducah radar site so that we can watch storms that are moving on through parts of west that could come into northwest Tennessee or northeastern Arkansas. So despite that radar being down in Millington, we still have the ability to track these storms carefully and effectively to help keep you updated and alert. So right now, let's run through it one more time. The severe thunderstorms we have active. We have Chester, Hardin, Madison, McNairy County until 9 o'clock. Then just to the south of that, another one for Alcorn, McNairy, Prentiss, and Tippah County, that too until 9 o'clock. Another warning that was just issued, this comes in now for Calhoun, Lafayette, Pontotoc, and Yalobusha counties until 9 o'clock. And then another cell just to the west of that for Coahoma, Quitman, Tallahatchie. That's going to go until 8:45 tonight. So just over 30 minutes left on that one. But by 9 o'clock, we should get this entire system out of here and be in for what's shaping up to be a much calmer night tonight as we get on into it. This is what our radar looked like just before the radar site went down in Millington. That big cluster of storms moved on through. The intense lightning associated with it knocked out our radar in Millington, but we still have the ability to track these storms and to keep you informed on where they are, where they're going, and what they're bringing where. And right now, the real impact is in northern Mississippi, really along and south of 278, and right here in northeast Mississippi, as that's moving on through Tippah and Benton counties, or Tippah and Alcorn counties this evening. And let's see if we can put a track on this. I want to give our friends in Corinth their first alert as to when that heavier precipitation is going to come on through there. Let's check it out. Already in there, as a matter of fact. So some pretty good heavy rain coming on through. We go this way with it. And I'll still put a track, even though that's going to take it outside our coverage area. We still got folks that are watching in northeast Mississippi. It's really moving to the south, to the east-southeast, about 45 miles per hour. So Rienzi, 816, gets into Glenn, 819, 825 into Leedy, 827 into Burnsville, 833 to Holcut. Then it's going to move on into Iuka at 836, into Patton at 839. We'll see it get into Waterloo at 843. So that's that portion of the storm there. Let's see if I can check this out here, because right around McNairy County, this is going to move into Pickwick, and we got a lot of folks that here in the Mid-South that go to Pickwick, hang there, and enjoy the lake. Let's see if I can, I'm going to clear this out first of all, and then put a track on that, because this too is moving to the south and east. So as it does, it's going to move in this direction right here. So Morris Chapel, 816 into Crump at about 821. Then it moves on into Savannah, 826, 831 into Counts. Holiday Hills, that's going to move in at 836, 843 into Big Ivy. Giles.
Ron, we've got a tornado warning.
Tornado, where is it, Sagace?
It is for Marshall County, Mississippi.
All right, I tell you what, let's go on to television, Jayla. If you'll take us on to TV, please. Let's go on to Action News 5 right now. Let's go ahead and break in. And let's do a two-box on this if we can, Jayla, so we can keep up the race in one box and then keep us in the other, if you don't mind. So, folks, we're going to take our digital streaming coverage to live television now as a result of the tornado warning that's just been issued. Let me know when you're ready to go. Good evening, I'm meteorologist Ron Childers. We've been tracking storms tonight on our digital platforms, but we're back with you on television now. We're going to keep the NASCAR race up on the left-hand side of your screen, but just moments ago, National Weather Service issued a tornado warning. This is going to be in effect for Marshall County this evening. Let me give you an idea. Here we go. We've got several severe thunderstorm warnings working, but now a tornado warning for Benton and Marshall County. This is going to go until 8:45 tonight. 8:45 for a potential tornado. It is Doppler radar indicated tornado, but this storm has been packing a punch. We've had reports of damage along Highway 72 in Benton County, trees coming down there, even blocking the highway in that area. But right now, we are with you live on television. I'm going to keep the NASCAR race up on the left side of the screen, but it is this potential tornado. This is coming in behind the line of main storms that move through Memphis and Shelby County, leaving more than 100,000 customers without power. And now this storm developing and possibly producing a tornado. And right there around Holly Springs, just to the south and east of it, looks like that may be the area where we're seeing that tornado. Meteorologist Sergey Galindo has been tracking these storms with me this evening. Sergey, you've been taking a look at this as well. Anything on there that catches your eye? What are you seeing on our link system in regard to that potential for a tornado threat? And really, it looks like it's somewhere between Holly Springs and Hickory Flat, and maybe right there around that area.
Yeah,
what do you got?
I'm seeing the same area that you're looking at, but I'm not seeing anything in the way of any strong rotation. However, as I click on my skip marker here, it is indicating the potential for some hail within this. And that BTI, that's one of the things that we look to when we talk about tornadoes for sure, the Barron Tornado Index. It's at a 2.6, so that is some good news with that. But again, radar indicated some rotation within this, so we certainly are keeping a close eye on it. You can see the strongest part of that storm, it's going to be moving down toward the south and east, so some of the communities in the path, Holly Springs 826, Waits at 839, Lake Center at 842. If you're in those areas, we want you to head to your safe place now.
Yeah, and Sergey talked about that BTI. That's that Barron Tornado Indicator. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, this comes in at a 2. So right now, radar indications, there is some rotation with this. However, that rotation seems minimal. It's when we see that number get above a 5 that we really start to pay attention. But right now, a lot of activity around the area, and we still have the severe thunderstorm watch that remains in effect for the entire Action News 5 coverage area for Memphis and Shelby County. This is going to go until midnight tonight. But the storm that's coming on through North Mississippi right now, still packing a punch, especially right there around Marshall County, and that's where we're seeing that activity come on through. Let me zoom on in quickly, show you what we're dealing with in that area, where that storm is going, and then we'll put a track on it. But right now, our greatest concern, the strongest storm or the area where the most activity is located, is right now making its way through Marshall County. Now also, we've got severe thunderstorm warnings that remain in effect for Lafayette, Panola County, and a good portion of northeastern Mississippi. We'll take a close look at that in just a moment, but let me show you this right now. This cell that is working its way through Marshall County. I tell you what, let me tap into the Columbus radar site. And by the way, earlier this evening, as a strong storm moved through northern Shelby County, knocked out the radar site in Millington. So we're relying on surrounding radars, and right now I'm tapping into the radar that's down into Columbus, Mississippi for the track on this storm. So it's moving to the south and east at about 45 miles per hour. Let's track it in that direction. Some brief rotation in there, but enough to prompt the National Weather Service to issue the tornado warning. So if you are in the path, I want you in your storm shelter right now. Potts Camp, 829, it's going to be moving in there. Then Hickory Flat, 835. Blue Mountain, 840. We'll get into Lowry at 840. Myrtle, 846. Then moves into New Albany in Union County at 850. It'll get into Pumpkin Center at 853. And then into Locum at about 856. So that is the tornado warn portion of that cell. Sergey, what have you got for us?
National Weather Service is saying it's a marginal signature, but because the radar is down, they issued this out of an abundance of caution, which rightly so, since it does have some rotation within it.
Yes, indeed. And I can see a little area right here. As a matter of fact, you see a little inflow notch right there. Let me draw this out just right there. So we got a little inflow notch. This is likely where our hail core is right now. A lot of heavy rain in advance of that, but we've got a lot of warm air filtering into that, and there may be a little bit of rotation that exists right in there. And I tell you what, I'm going to go back and let's take a look here on the big picture on the first alert Doppler radar, and let me show you. And by the way, still a severe thunderstorm watch for a large portion of the coverage area, but I think everyone that is along and north of the 40 corridor, you're in good shape tonight, as now the stronger storms are making their way through northern Mississippi. But a Doppler radar indicated tornado right now working its way through Marshall County, pushing to the south and east, right there along and north of Highway 22. That's going to take that into southern Marshall County and southern Benton County within the next 30 minutes or so. So anyone in the path of that storm, you want to seek shelter immediately. So again, we're relying on the terminal Doppler located down in DeSoto County because the main radar site in Shelby County is down. And by the way, we've had a lot of power outages in and around Shelby County. I'll show you that MLGW power outage map in just a moment. But let's walk you through the other severe thunderstorm warnings we still have in place. One for Chester, Hardin, Madison, and McNairy County. That's going to go until 9 o'clock tonight. Just to the south of that, we've got another warning. That is for a large portion of northeastern Mississippi. That is for Alcorn, McNairy, Prentiss, and Tippah County. That's going to go until 9 o'clock tonight. Let me clear that off of here. And we've got another severe thunderstorm warning. This is for Calhoun, Lafayette, Pontotoc, Yalobusha County until 9 p.m. tonight. And then just to the south and west of that, another severe thunderstorm warning that encompasses a small portion, southern Coahoma, Quitman, and Tallahatchie County. That goes until 8:45 tonight, so about another 20 minutes on that. But we have certainly seen a tremendous amount of activity this evening, and right now the stronger storms focus on northeastern Mississippi. That's where we have the bulk of the severe thunderstorm warnings. That's where we're finding the heavier precipitation, and we're also finding a tremendous amount of lightning that extends from the Mississippi River east into northeast Mississippi. We're getting about 853 strikes of lightning. But right now, it is this cell that's located right here in Marshall County that has prompted the National Weather Service to issue the tornado warning this evening for and right on top of an already existing severe thunderstorm warning. Now, this was also showing some signs of producing hail, and wow, we've had some indications, radar indications of large hail tonight. As a matter of fact, right there on Highway 22, just to the northwest of Holly Springs, radar indicated hail in size just over, right around 1.25 inches, just above that. But look at this, near Ashland, we were getting reports of hail right around 1.5 inches in size. I say reports, radar indicated reports of hail at just over 1.5 inches in size. Let me show you what's going on in Memphis and Shelby County, because we do have a calmer pattern here and north of 40, but wow, a lot of folks lost power this evening as that storm moved through. And our MLGW power outage map showing more than 116,000 customers at one point, and now we're at, let me turn around, we're at 117,000 MLGW customers without power, and you can see the majority of them extend from Fraser through Raleigh, Bartlett, on into the Wolf Chase Galleria area, right around eastern Shelby County, around Lakeland, Arlington, and points farther south down into Germantown and even Collierville, all the areas in the red box, more than 500 outages there. So power getting knocked out as the storms move through, but fortunately calmer here in Memphis, but storms still churning elsewhere. Sigay Galindo, you're taking a look at, I do believe, that cell down in Marshall County. A lot of activity. What are you seeing here?
I'm looking at a cell that's developing just to the south of that. You know, whenever we get these little isolated cells that develop really on the south end, we really focus in on those. And nothing severe with that, but just something I'm watching right now. It is moving over portions of Lafayette County, moving toward the southeast. Thankfully, that BTI, the Barron Tornado Indicator Index, showing a 2.5. So still low on the scale, but just a little isolated cell cell that I'm watching. Still watching this one as well that's making its way out of Marshall County and headed into Benton County. Still a tornado warning on that for just about another 15 minutes. Radar indicated some rotation. So right now it's moving over Lake Center and making its way toward Hickory Flat in the next several minutes.
So we've been tracking storms tonight on our digital platforms. We started right around 7 o'clock this evening, and I tell you what, the activity, it has been intense, working its way through northeastern Arkansas, right on through Memphis and Shelby County, and now really converging right here in northern Mississippi. And I know it doesn't look that impressive right now, but let me show you this, because we're going to tap into the Columbus radar. That gives you a better idea of what we're dealing with. You see what we are seeing? This is Columbus, Mississippi right here. This is the radar site we're looking at, and all of this activity pushing to the south and east. Now, it's just about to clear the Action News 5 coverage area, or at least that leading edge of those storms about to clear the Action News 5 coverage area. But it's a little storm that developed right behind it, and actually I think this may have developed from some outflow on the backside of that front that allowed that cell to just rapidly develop and intensify. And let me show you, let me see if I can show you that loop one more time, because we were looking at this on our digital platform earlier just before we came to you on air here on television, and I want you to watch it form. Let's put this into a loop, and let's see, I may have to pan this over just a little bit just so we can get that Columbus radar site data. There we go. So watch this, that really blew up right there. Do you see that area? Right there. That just kind of came together right there over Holly Springs, and now as it's pushing to the south and east, looks like it's diminishing. There's a lot of cooler air back behind this, so that's going to take a nice bite out of this. It's not often we see a tornado signature develop behind a main line. It's usually right there along that leading edge of that line. But wow, it's coming down right now in Oxford. They're getting some very heavy rain. Jayla, I don't know if we can tap into that Oxford camera, but if you can, let me know, because I want to see what's happening there as this storm's pushing on through. Jayla's our director in our booth. She's done a great job tonight of helping us track these storms. But let's take you back to the big picture. And again, very tough to see simply because our NexRad radar site in Millington is down, and that's due to all of the lightning, the heavy rain that came through Memphis and Shelby County. But we're relying now on the terminal Doppler radar site in DeSoto County. We've got radars down in Columbus, radars back in Little Rock. And let me tap into that Little Rock radar, because you can really see the storms that are still coming in. This coming in really in waves. There's another one that's back here. We've got one that's working its way through right here, and then this one that came in behind it. So these are really training echoes, and they're just going to come in one right after the other. So the potential for flooding, especially around Phillips into Coahoma, Quitman County, is likely tonight. I think our severe weather threat ending in those areas, still a lot of thunder, a little lightning, and a lot of lightning with that. But there could be some flooding as a result of very heavy precipitation coming down on an already saturated ground from the storms that came through earlier. We're getting rainfall rates just under an inch per hour right now in north central Mississippi. Then back to the northwest of that, look at that, coming down at over 1.3 inches. And storms still holding together around Little Rock, just over an inch, and the upper level flow driving all of these storms in this direction tonight. So anything that develops back to our west or northwest is going to be pushed to the east and southeast and bring that right into our coverage area.
Ron, tornado warning has been canceled for Marshall and Benton County.
Good deal. So tornado warning canceled for Benton and Marshall County. Thank you for that, Sigay. And I tell you what, with that, we've still got active warnings. I want to get you back to NASCAR, but we're going to continue to track this on our digital platform. So if you'd like to continue and follow along with us, we're going to remain on YouTube, Facebook. We'll be on actionnews5.com, on the Action News 5 apps on Apple TV, Amazon, and Apple TV on Roku and Amazon Fire. And if you don't have those apps, download them. You can also follow along on the Action News 5 First Alert Weather app on your tablet or smartphone. Those are also free downloads. So multiple ways for us to get information to you, but we also want to allow you, and especially folks who are enjoying just a rather tranquil night tonight, to enjoy the NASCAR. So let's take you back to NASCAR on TV. We'll continue to track these on our digital platforms. I invite you to join us. You can even have your laptop in one hand and the TV on right there in front of you and keep up with the weather and track it with us. So for meteorologist Sergey Galindo, I'm Ron Childers. We're watching this, we're tracking it, but we're going back to our digital. Let's get you back to NASCAR. All right, so here we go. The warning is now expired. And Sergey, I think once we see this area right here, and Jayla, can you take that program out of my ear, please? There we go. I think once we get this line out of here, that's right here, I'm going to pan over just a little bit. I think we're going to be in much better shape. And let me just go ahead and put a track on this tonight, especially right here, south and east. There we go. So Coffeyville, 834, 840 into Thaxton. We'll see it move into Tyson, 846. Pontotoc, 855. Then it gets into Algoma at 857. Calhoun City, 906. Vardaman, 913. Verona at 917. Now with that, let me pan just a little more to the north and east. These storms are just now exiting Alcorn County, still getting a lot of thunder, a little lightning in there. Southern Tippah County looks like you're in better shape. Let's check it for hail quickly. Yeah, there's been some indications of hail back there, but along that leading edge, not seeing much working there. Now, let me switch back to our radar site here. And then I want to come down into northern Mississippi, right here along into Alcorn, Coahoma counties. Let me zoom this, pan this over just a little bit, and let's see if we can get that Little Rock radar in there. There we go. It's not going to really let me. All right, so still coming down pretty good around Clarksdale, even into Quitman County, but it does not look severe. And what is back to the west of it is just outside our coverage area to the southwest of it. Sergey, what are you looking at? I see you zooming in over there. You probably got a better view than I do, huh?
Looking at all this heavy rainfall and all this lightning that's just south of Coahoma County, Quitman County, so outside of our coverage area. But just looking at some of the areas where we are seeing the heaviest rain on the screen. Still tracking so much rain for portions of Coahoma County, Quitman, and Panola County. Still seeing a lot of heavy rain around Sardis. Oxford seeing a lot of heavy rain. So this is all, again, sliding outside of our coverage area. And as Ron mentioned, once that moves out, we're going to be in much better shape when it comes to severe weather. I think that threat will decrease greatly, but still tracking a lot of heavy rainfall just in that northeastern corner, southeastern corner of Alcorn County, right around Rienzi. Still seeing a lot of heavy rain. Thankfully, most of the lightning is starting to decrease some, but still seeing a lot of lightning just south outside of our coverage area. Again, this is all sliding down toward the south and east. As we look at the big picture, drying out for many across the area, and certainly this rain has helped to give many a break from the very dangerous heat we had in place today. We continue to see things clearing up really from south to east. So that's going to be the trend as we head toward the overnight, but still got some storms that are still producing lots of lightning in North Mississippi and a lot of heavy rain. Once that exits, I think we're going to be looking pretty good.
Yeah, and I really think we're seeing a much calmer pattern emerge for our Action News 5 coverage area. And Sergey, just as you were talking, another warning was issued. That's going to take that on into the shoals of Alabama, but we still have a severe thunderstorm watch for much of the coverage area, although Craighead County, Missouri Boot Heel has been removed from that, and I expect to see more counties north of the 40 corridor removed from that as well as we go into the evening. But that watch itself technically remains until midnight tonight. But right now, all of the activity and the most intense activity that is in place around northern Mississippi and really starting to move outside our coverage area. So I think once we get this out of the Oxford area, we're going to be in good shape. So Lafayette County, hang on. You've got another, about 20 minutes to go before this moves on out. But folks that are right there around Prentiss County, Monroe County, you've got a lot of activity tonight. Even Union and Pontotoc counties could see some more strong to severe storms coming into play. But right now, as I take a look at the big picture,
Ron, radar is back up.
Radar is back up. We've got our NextRad radar back up, thankfully. That is good news. Let me see if I can pop onto that over here and take a look. And I'm still not seeing it there. I tell you what, this will give me that loop. There we go. We lose it, and now we got it back. And you can see those last few frames coming on into play. But the stronger rainfall, the heavier precipitation, now pushing outside of the Action News 5 coverage area. And I think we're starting to see a much calmer pattern emerge as we head on into the evening hours. So, yeah, I think we can safely wrap this up here in a couple of minutes. Anything you want to add before we do so?
I agree with that. I think most of the heavy rainfalls, as you're seeing now on your screen, starting to push out of the area. And of course, we'll continue to watch things. That cold front still making its way into the area.
Yeah, and a cold front is what has really pushed all of this today. Here's the good news with that front. It's going to usher in some drier air. Now, it's still going to get warm for the next few days. We're looking at temperatures that will remain in the 90s, but tomorrow, Tuesday, and even a good part of Wednesday, we're looking at lower humidity. So we're not going to be dealing with the excessive feels like temperatures that we saw today. I do believe our high topped out in the mid-90s as we had expected. However, at one point we did have feels like temperatures in the Memphis metro right around 110. That's what it felt like this afternoon. It's going to feel much better tomorrow, but it's still going to be warm. In the meantime, still got a lot of power out around the area. Jayla, if we can show that MLGW power outage map one more time, I'd certainly welcome that. We'll follow it up with a quick look from our high 5 camera as well, and then give you our final look at our first alert Doppler radar. Things are looking much better. We still got some active warnings, but those warnings themselves now moving outside of our coverage area. So let's take a look at our MLGW power outage map. There we go. A lot of folks still without power. 117,000 MLGW customers without power. 524 outages in the area. The boxes you see in red extend from Highway 51 all the way to the Shelby-Fayette County line, but primarily from Fraser through Raleigh, Bartlett, areas that were hit hard. Lakeland, Arlington without power, Germantown as well. I got reports of very strong wind that came through the Bartlett area. We've got crews that are out and about working on this. We'll bring you the stories tonight at 10 and fill you in on any damage and video that we gather from that. Here's a look outside right now from our high 5 camera. This will give you an idea of what the evening is shaping up to be here in the city of Memphis, and will likely look like for the rest of the Mid-South as the nighttime progresses. So much calmer pattern. If we can pop up that high 5 camera, any one you've got, Jayla, I'll take that, the Midtown or the downtown, and look at that. Red sky at night, a sailor's delight, as it is often said, and that's what we're getting in the distance as a much calmer pattern emerging behind the storms. But there's still a lot of activity out there this evening. I want you to stay weather aware. Our severe thunderstorm watch remains in effect for Memphis and Shelby County. Let's go back to that and let me show you that watch on Max and give you an idea of who's still included in that. Here we go, back to Max, and that remains until midnight tonight. And we're working on it. I ask our directors to do a lot in the last minute, so it's difficult at times to keep up with me. But all the counties highlighted in yellow, still under a watch, but things looking much better north of the 40 corridor and west of the Mississippi River. But we've still got a lot of activity in northern Mississippi, and that's what we're going to continue to keep our eye on this evening, although it looks like the threat for the stronger storms and the severe weather now exiting our coverage area. We're going to wrap it up. Sergey Galindo, final thoughts. Thank you very much. Great job today. We appreciate you. Already gave your final thoughts. I forgot about that. I get all carried away, but a great job tonight. I know you had some technical issues to deal with over there that you folks at home didn't get a chance to see, but let me tell you, she handled it like a champ. And it is always a pleasure to work alongside you. So I appreciate
Thanks,
your
Ron.
expertise
Likewise.
and your radar skills and knowledge. And thank you for sharing that with us tonight. I want to thank you at home for joining us here on our digital platform. Let me know what you think about what we did tonight. We kept NASCAR on television and we tracked the storms on digital. Did you like it? Did you not? Hit me up on Facebook, Twitter, even send me an email. rchilders@wmctv.com. I want to hear your thoughts. So, Sergey, thank you again for the great work tonight. We'll be back on Action News 5 at 10 with a complete recap of all the day's weather, news, and what's ahead. We're not finished with that heat just yet. And it's coming back next week, later with a vengeance. We'll see you again at 10. I'm meteorologist Ron Childers. Have a safe night. Stay weather aware. We'll keep you updated.